Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of Quick Q&A where I answer all of your questions that come in the comments section on my different YouTube videos. If you'd like one of your questions featured in an upcoming episode, please leave your question in the comments section below. Also in the description box below, if you'd like to support what I do here at Home Recording Made Easy and you like these types of videos, feel free to click the link in the description box and support us here at Home Recording Made Easy, and I thank you in advance. So this week's question comes in from Randy 1980, and it is about audio interfaces and converters. Really cool topic. So Randy writes in, "Hello, David. What is your opinion on audio interface converters? I am in the process of upgrading my studio gear and I want to start mixing music for clients, and I want to ensure that I have an audio signal path that is as accurate as possible to help me make good mixing decisions. I know there are a lot of different products on the market at all different price points, and I'm currently using a Focusrite 8i6 USB interface that was about $300. At what price point does it really make a difference? Thanks so much for all your help, Randy 1980. Well, Randy, thank you for writing in. Interesting question. Audio interfaces in general. Okay, let's talk about that. So as you know, and as you alluded to, there are all different price points in the audio interface market. There are some that as little as $99, and there are some that are thousands of dollars, and every price point in between. And really what you got to look at is, what are the price differences? What makes one interface $99, or in your case, $300? And what makes one that's $2,000 or $3,000 or $5,000? Well, there's a couple of things. First and foremost, you're looking at the amount of inputs, preamps that might be on board. So a $99 interface may only have, say, 2 preamps, where you move up to a $500 or $600 interface of the same manufacturer, and you may be looking at 8 preamps. So preamps are one of the differences and why one would cost more than another. The other may be the amount of line inputs and line outputs that particular interface has. Will also be, why one would be more or less expensive than another. And then the thing that a lot of people don't think about, and Randy, you're asking a really good question, is the quality of the converters that are inside, the D to A and A to D conversion. And a lot of people don't realize that. It's not widely talked about. It's usually what's talked about is the amount of preamps and the other ins and outputs on that interface. But I can tell you for certain that there is a difference in the quality of the converters. So, you have a real affordable or less expensive interface, even if it had the same amount of preamps, line ins and line outs, you're going to have parts that are, cheaper components. In the audio interface world, you really kind of get what you pay for. So as far as your question about converters, I can tell you they do make a difference. Recently, and right here in my studio, I have a couple of interfaces laying around, and my main interface is a Universal Audio Apollo 6X, okay, which is their new release about a year or so ago, where they've always have had great converters, but they've upgraded their converters. And I also have as a spare interface a PreSonus 1824C, which is an 8-channel mic pre interface, good interface, probably runs around between $400 and $500. And I keep that around as a spare in case my main interface goes down for some reason. I can continue to work, but it's not my main workhorse. My main workhorse is the Apollo. Well, recently I have done a test after this question came in, Randy, where we're able to hook up my studio in a way to where I can listen to a lot of reference music here in my studio. And at the touch of a button, I can switch between the Universal Audio interface and the PreSonus interface to see, is there really a sonic difference? Now, the Universal Audio Apollo interface is about a $2,300 to $2,400 interface. It would be what I would consider a mid-priced interface, whereas the PreSonus one is more of an affordable interface. And I can tell you without question, there is absolutely a difference in sound quality between the two units. Now, how much sound quality is it? Is it something that's like, it's a 90% improvement? No, it's not a 90% improvement. I would say the Universal Audio converters was about probably a 10% improvement, a definite audible difference. The Universal Audio interface, the converters that I was listening back and forth on here in my studio, had definitely a more upper mid-range clarity. It almost seemed like the music sounded a little bit wider, and there was a lot more finer detail than the PreSonus interface of, again, about 1/3 1/3 or 1/5 the price. Okay. So I can definitely hear a difference there. When I was listening to a lot of like, acoustic music, maybe some jazz piano music where it was very kind of soft and maybe just a piano and a vocal or a string section, it was a lot more audible than when listening to like a heavy rock track where there was a lot more dense of a mix, a lot of distorted guitars, big drums. It was a little less noticeable, but it was definitely noticeable. But on more sparse music, it was definitely where you could really hear a much better clarity in the universal audio converters. So that there is definitely a difference. Now, again, as you mentioned, they're at all different price points. You can buy an interface that's $3,000, $4,000, $5,000, or you can buy an interface that's only a few $100s. And you said that you want to start mixing music for clients, and you're in a position where you want to make sure you have as clean of an audio signal path as possible, or the most accurate signal path as possible, which is going to help you make better mixing decisions. The audio interface converters is only one link in your audio signal path, and you want to make sure that you have, you can have a really great set of converters, for example, in your audio interface, and you can have a really, inexpensive, cheap set of monitors, and that's not really going to help you either, but we'll talk about that in future videos. But the answer to your question is, what I would tell you to do is, yes, if you're looking to mix on a more semi-pro or professional level, or if you really want to up your game, get the most expensive audio interface that you can afford. Okay, so again, if you're just doing it for mixing, and you mentioned mixing and you're not really doing recording, well then you're not really looking for an audio interface that has, say, 8 set of inputs if you don't need that. Maybe you only need an interface that has 1 or 2 set of inputs on there. Maybe you don't need a converter that has a conversion box, that has any preamps. Maybe you're looking at something like Apogee or something like that, where you have your own external preamp going into something like that. So there are different things on the market. What I would suggest you do is maybe look in the description box below and click on the link to sweetwater.com and go out there and talk, shop around and talk to one of their sales engineers and see if they can point you in the right direction. But I would tell you that it absolutely makes a difference, the quality of the converters, the quality of the preamps inside of your audio interface, and also the higher quality of the converter, the more headroom that you're going to have, that you can hit that converter a lot harder, and you don't have to worry about any kind of digital clipping or anything like that. And it isn't hype. There is a sound difference, and I can tell you that because, as I said, I did a test comparing the Universal Audio Apollo to the PreSonus 1824C. And again, I'm not saying the PreSonus 1824C is a bad interface. It's not a bad interface. I have it as my backup. But, again, in that $400 range or so, the quality of the converters, the quality of the preamps are just not going to be as good as something like the Universal Audio interfaces, or like some of the higher end Motus or the RMEs or the Apogees or anything like that. Those, or the Burls, those are going to have much better quality converters. And if you're really serious about getting the best signal path you can, then I would definitely say step up from the Focusrite if you can afford it. And again, as much as you can afford on a good set of converters is going to help you down the road. Think of it as an investment in your studio. So I hope that answers your question, Randy, and gives you a little bit of guidance. There is a difference. Converters do make a difference for critical listening. And so again, whatever you can afford is what I would tell you to do. I would tell you to upgrade for sure, because there is a difference. So I hope that helps you out. Again, if you want one of your questions featured in an upcoming episode, make sure you leave it in the comments section below, and I will certainly try to do that. And once again, if you find this channel and my videos helpful to you in any way, and you'd like to donate to help support Home Recording Made Easy, there is a link in the description box below for that as well. So until next week's episode, I've been Dave with Home Recording Made Easy. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll talk to you soon. Take care.